Season 11 has come to a close on MFL, and today our season in review subject of conversation is player progression within the club, not progression up the MFL pyramid. We don't like to talk about that around here, because if we take a little look at the table for Season 11, it turns out we did poorly, finishing the season on some terrible form, only just managing to stave off the battle of a relegation playoff, combined with getting knocked out of the second round in the cup. All of this to say that, basically we didn't do very well in terms of the actual football on display this season. But if we head over to the progression page for my HQ, we can see that it didn't go much better here either. Our highest overall progression boost across the whole of Season 11 was a +2, with only one of those +2s being from my matchday squad as a part of my club Royal Livy Rovers, that being the Lord and Saviour that we all know and love, Stefan Hooper. And then when you take all of this and consider that some managers have players that go up from anywhere between 6 to 10 overall ratings in one season, you have to say it's quite a low return when looking at progression as a whole. Now, as for the players in the development center, we're not too fussed at the semantics behind their progression, alright? They're locked and loaded into the dev center 4 years at a time, so, theoretically they're going to be getting the highest amount of progression they can feasibly get. It's not until we look at my matchday squad throughout the season that progression starts to look real bleak. Only 5 of the 23 players in my squad received any kind of progression boost at all this season. As mentioned, the Lord and Saviour being the only player to break a +2, and if we're talking about Stefan Hooper as the most progressed player this season, it's still almost a case of what could have been when we look at him. And what I mean by this is that when we click on his profile, his player page, we can view his observations, the same for any other player, and we can see the bottom moniker in this area stating that Hooper is training well, so his application isn't the problem, but he could advance faster with stronger competition from teammates. And it makes sense on a surface level. The better players around you, the faster you'll improve as you're learning more from them and playing with more talented individuals, blah. So if we go back and look at my squad, we can see when sorting on overall rating that Stefan Hooper is our second highest rated player in the team. 1 overall from a tier break to join Conway there as a 75 rated card. Hooper himself joint second with Raimondo Shaw at 74, but then the squad progressively drops off and gets weaker throughout. Can you hear that? What are you doing? What I'm saying is the squad bottoms out with players rated below the 60 mark, a gap of 20 overalls to our lowest rated player. So obviously based on the observations when looking at Hooper's profile, we can see this is hurting his progression. If I had a stronger squad, not only would I have likely finished higher in the actual league table for Season 11, which would have been just lovely, but Hooper himself might have even tier broke into rare with increased player progression. And this isn't a problem solely isolated to just Stefan Hooper. If we check out Neville Conway, our highest rated player, he's training well but could advance faster with some stronger teammates. Same again when we check out Raimondo Shaw, another player who's rated at 74 overall. And then the script, no further changes. If we look at Liam Holden, who's 71 rated, he could also advance slightly faster with better teammates around him. It isn't until we hit Derek Cook, who's 69 rated, that we finally see a player who is thriving in the perfect environment for their progression. So it's almost once those players breach that 70+ rating, the skew of lower rated players at the bottom end of the squad then start to negatively affect the 70+ rated players in terms of their progression. Which is obviously bad to begin with for obvious reasons, obviously, but even more so when you consider the value of my squad. The value is obviously mostly going to be at the top end, obviously. Am I saying obviously too much? I feel like this is obvious, right? But the value is going to be at the top end heavy in our best players. A 90 pace forward in Stefan Hooper, an all-around midfielder in Raimondo Shaw, a winger with blistering pace and outputs in Neville Conway, and so forth. These are my best players. These are where most of my monetary and footballing ability lies within the club. Yet we are actively stifling them by having a weaker squad in general, hurting their progression and hurting my team. Now, this is something I plan to change with an adoption of new tactics going into next season. And I don't necessarily mean tactics in the sense of a formation and player instructions, although do subscribe to next week's video, which will be our plans for a tactical overhaul ahead of Season 12. But no, I mean tactics as in strategy of the club as a whole going forward. Now, last week's video, if you haven't seen it, go and check it out. But I was basically asking the question on the optimal loaning strategy for a club at my level to not only boost our hopes of pushing for promotion and having a better season in general, but the side effect of loaning stronger players more up to par with the better players I already own in my club. As we've discussed in this video, that would be a positive side effect of having these stronger loans in the squad, meaning my top players that I already own will hopefully train better and progress better with more competitive teammates around them. The pieces are all coming together. I feel like we're getting there, lads and ladies. We're definitely getting there. Just relax, okay? We're gonna make it. We're gonna make it. So that's what we aim to do. Loan in some big players, push up the Ice League table, and have our progression achieve loftier heights for Season 12. Now, all of this will begin by a squad clear out ahead of next season, and we'll only be re-signing players onto the team who will benefit not only on the pitch in terms of their overall ability, but also in terms of playing with like-minded individuals alongside them. Looking at my squad, and without divulging any of my formation and tactical plans ahead of next week's video, my initial plans are for any players rated below 64 to drop out of the squad completely, bar McGowan, who is sat there at 62 rated going into his final season as an OG legend of the club. You know, just last season alone, if we look at him here, he was still a key player in the squad, playing 29 times. So even if he'll only be a backup player for this coming season for some cup matches, you know, he nonetheless deserves that testimonial to see out his career at Royal Livy Rovers. Everyone else, though, can get gone, and even the 64 rated players I only plan on using as cover and rotation options for next season. As for the players departing the squad who are rated below this, this invisible line I've set myself, we'll likely try and flog them on the market, even if they won't have much sell value. Perhaps the older players or the players we can't shift on said market, you know, they'll be able to go out on loan to the Sparta division to maybe siphon some final MFL contributions in their golden years. Because right now, simply put, the value and utility of those players isn't there for me from my point of view. It's then a case of building around our key players with some smart moves on the loan market. Stick around on the channel because in the following weeks we're going to break down my Season 12 tactics followed up by the players I'm bringing in on loan to fit said tactic, you know, strengthen the squad, and based on today's topic of discussion, hopefully improve our progression as well. So I'll catch you then and next time because I love you.